As we begin to move and notice, we are investigating our flexibility in a particular area. Head comes back down, lifting up to the center. So good. All right. Let's turn to our side. If we're facing each other, I'm going to turn to my side so I now have the long way in the mat. Listening to my body, it's saying, okay, I'm warmed up now, so Lee loses jacket. Okay, so I'm going to sit sideways. And how about we draw our knees together in our spaces? So we're just going to draw our knees forward to the place where we can kind of sit up straight. For some of us, our knees are a little bit wider. Sometimes the chest and the belly feels better here. For some of us, it might be a little bit closer. As you come into your comfortable seated posture, we kind of address our spine and shoulder area, inhaling our shoulders up to our ears and exhaling as we roll those shoulders back and down. Nice job. Let's try that again, this time squeezing a little bit more up at the top, inhaling fully. And with your exhale, pressing those shoulders back behind you, squeezing those shoulder blades together to feel the work there, and let that go down back at the bottom. You might be feeling something that's going on down here in the lower half. If you are, that's good. That's your body talking to you. What we have here is a bunch of muscles in our thigh. We have a hip flexor that connects the thigh and the leg all the way up through the pelvis and the belly, which then ends up connecting to our back and our glutes. So that when we set ourselves up, we're actually engaging a lot, even in our lower half here. And that's just another mental check-in. So as you're here, start to find your breath and notice how your body's feeling. Our yoga practice of flexibility teaches us that we have choice in how we want to move. So if your flexibility practice today is, I want to get better at sitting up straight, then maybe we turn on our bellies a little bit and we actively are working to hold ourselves up here. Let's say that our flexibility practice today says, I actually want to be flexible with kind of what's going on in my head and my body and whatever I've got going on today. And so I'm actually going to let my legs come down and I'm just going to sit forward, because that flexibility is a listening flexibility as well. So for you, choose what is your practice today. Do I want to gain flexibility in pushing myself and working a little harder? Or do I want to get some mental work done by noticing that I'm fatigued or not feeling good in a posture, and I will remain flexible by kind of letting that go? No judgment. It's acceptance of how we're feeling at that time and responding in a gentle way. Okay. All righty. For those of us who have decided that we want to kind of sit up straight and hold ourselves here, another invitation to just increase the work here is to sweep our arms forward, 1 or 2. So in this, we're adding mass and work to our bodies so that instead of kind of holding ourselves here, perhaps I'm taking one arm forward or both arms forward, changing the effort that I'm having to make here. So again, with our flexibility work, our flexibility says, okay, well, I'm choosing to work in this posture to however degree I want to. And then you can start to see I'm leaning back a little bit. That's because my belly feels tired today. So Lee chooses flexibility work today. And so I'm going to press myself forward, holding myself up into my thighs. If this is not enough of a challenge for you, trying to take our legs down, straightening out those hamstrings could be something of a choice for you. Again, flexibility. If you're too tired and you want to do this with your hands down somewhere, that's okay too. That's our mindfulness practice. Okay. So if this is not enough for you and you want to try even more effort into the abdominal and back area, you can begin to lift a leg. So there's all kinds of levels of experimentation in our practice. So I encourage you right now to find whatever that is on whatever side it is for you. And then we're going to go through our checklist to actually do the mindfulness work as we flow through this effort. So Lee is going to pick one leg up and try to talk to you at the same time. Okay, so what do? Physically, we roll the shoulders away from our ears. If you're like me, perhaps you get stressed and you do this, drawing the shoulders away from my ears, creating space in the shoulders and the neck. Then I remind myself that it's time to breathe. So now I take that mindfulness, I focus on my chest and my breath, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Nice. Good job, everybody. If you're holding a leg up and you would like to switch and give yourself the other leg, or if you are somewhere and you want to make an adjustment to keep working, but just change the effort, you're invited to do so. Shoulders back and down, belly is turned on and strong, and we're finding our breath. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Nice job. Okay, just another round of breath for us. In through the nose, out through the mouth, as we're working on our flexibility today. And go ahead and release your leg, release your arms down to your sides when you're ready. To give ourselves a counter pose to this, we're just gonna forward fold. So we inhale, arms up to the sky, full breath in. And forward folding when you're ready, just coming down over these legs, head relaxes, shoulders relax. And if your hamstrings are tight like mine today, you might want to bend your knees a little, allowing the lower back to have a little bit more room. Find your breath. And we check in and we notice, what are these poses making me feel? What am I thinking when I do this? It's fun when we get to the point where we don't think for a moment and we just do. Knowing that the practice that we're doing is safe because we're used to it. Knowing that this yoga practice is a good space because we're choosing it. Yeah? So we work on our flexibility here, thinking about these are the things that come to my mind when I'm doing this posture. And these are the things I'm going to take and use. And these are the things I'm going to let go of. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go along. Okay, to come out of all of our postures, what we do is we gaze forward first. Then we turn on this belly, making it strong. And then we lift torso back up to the top, rolling the shoulders back and down. Let's try that again, thinking about our belly rather than kind of drawing ourselves up with the lower back. So I'm going to take my arms up to the sky, full breath in, arms are coming up. Exhaling, forward folding down over these legs. Getting ready to rise, face comes forward, belly turned on. Inhaling as I draw myself all the way back up to the top and rolling shoulders back and down. Very nice. All righty, we're going to start working on a down dog. If you haven't done one of these with us before, no worries, we'll figure it out together. Drawing our legs over to the side, we're going to come onto our hands and knees into a yoga table, or it just looks like a kiddo going on their hands and knees to do something. Maybe this is how you even clean the floor at your house. I don't know. All right, friends. Okay, here we are in our hands and knees. This is our yoga table. A yoga table can become a moving posture when we realize that we have 4 kind of axis points in our body. We have our hips, we have our shoulders, and we have our knees, and we have our wrists. So when I say that this can become a movement, a yoga table can move in a circle when we think about these 4 points of our body as little areas of a table we could kind of lean into. And so find a circle that works for you. I'm going clockwise. And as we come up, we can press into a shoulder, press into the other shoulder as we go across, pressing back, and then back to the other side. And we just kind of move and groove like this. And we remember our breath. We are choosing this flexibility, and we're just seeing how it feels. And we're supplying ourselves with what we need by creating intentional breath. Pausing, going the opposite direction. So now I lean in towards the left side, sweeping around a circle or a square, however you want to think about it, coming the opposite way. Here we go. This is good for our hip flexibility, shoulders, wrists, of course, forearms, whatever else, wherever else you're feeling it. Find that breath, intentionally breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Looks a little funny, but I promise you it'll be something that you might remember down the road. Okay, finding our table here in the center. We're going to work on our down dog today. So down dog asks for a lot of flexibility in the feet, the calves, and the hamstrings. Feel free to go ahead and get into your down dog if you've done it before. If this is new to you, I'm going to kind of show us how we can get into it. Down dog has us transitioning first out of our knees onto our feet in a plank position. Then we take a nice deep inhale and we bring our bottoms up to the sky. You're going to see me go onto the balls of my feet. And then I walk my feet forward just a little bit. If you need to bend your knees, feel free. And then we sit back into our heels. Okay? If you are slipping in your down dog, feel free to roll your mat over, whatever you need to do to kind of get that stability underneath you. Anytime you don't feel stable, feel free to come back down to table and take any kind of stretch from your table you might want to. For those of us who have been here in our downward facing dog, there's some things that we can do in our dog to kind of work out what's going on. Walking our feet to the edges of the mat, or at least a little bit wider than you would normally have them. You see me walking my hands backward a little bit, and that's because my body wants to get into my heels and my Achilles tendon a little more. If that's too much for you, feel free to bend your knees, do something different, take a table or come down. Coming back to our plank, gazing forward, I'm going to drop my bottom down to parallel with my shoulders. So it's a lot of wrists, I know. Here in our plank, we're going to kind of tuck our tails under, pressing pelvis closer to the floor. That activates our lower belly. When you're ready, take a nice deep breath, sending bottom back up to the sky, down dog. Exhaling, sinking into the heels behind you. Nice job, everyone. Table when you're ready, coming forward, dropping to hands and knees. Table can become a seated hero when we draw our knees together and sit back into our heels. You're going to see me sitting back into my heels. The counter posture here helps us get off of our hands and our wrists. And then as usual, go ahead and find a shoulder roll, sitting back into your heels behind you. If this hurts, feel free to curl your toes under, open or close your knees, or find any modifications that work for your body. As we sit here, we just draw our hands to our bellies. Shoulders roll back and down. Noticing our breath. All we're doing is noticing. As we are here, our mind travels to the things that we've intentionally chosen to do. What have you chosen to do in your downward facing dog or table practice today? What have you chosen to do to increase your physical flexibility? And what have we done to increase kind of our mental flexibility? Maybe it's even just doing this in the first place. That'd be mine. And it's good. It's a good thing. All righty. We've given these little paws a break here. As a chest opener, we can take our arms back behind us. And this is your choice. To open up our chest, we can fold our arms back behind us, roll the shoulders down, and send chest forward. You might be here. Another option is to release your hands behind you, interlace the fingers. It opens the chest a little bit wider. So if this is an option for you, please feel free. Again, I feel tension in my shoulders, so I try to relax them somehow, finding some breath. Noticing how my back feels and making an adjustment. Noticing maybe how your ankles are feeling or your feet and making an adjustment. And then continuing your cycle of breath after the choice that you've made. This breath is always here for us. And when we take an active role in using it, it becomes a really beautiful tool to start calming our nervous system. So for example, if we do something to ourselves that kind of activates our nervous system, kind of a asking for a response from us or asking for a decision or that kind of thing, the nervous system is firing in our brains and our bodies saying, we need to make a response. We need to react. And this is good. It saves us, it keeps us strong, it helps us work. But what it also does, as we kind of continue to sit here doing the chest opener, is it asks us to use oxygen more. And so by releasing our hands here, bringing them back to the front to find our table once more, noticing any shifts or changes in our breath. If we are up in plank, so walking feet out and coming back to your plank again, perhaps we start to notice what our breath asks us to do. When we hold our breath, we're focusing, and then we have to remind ourselves to breathe again. So if we drop back down into table and we draw right foot forward up the mat, feel free to take a couple steps to get from table to this right leg forward. We are starting to constrict our breath because of our belly, our chest, and our leg. This is intentional. Yoga does this to us. So hands here are on either side of this front foot. I'm going to kind of scooch my front foot forward a little bit to make sure I have a healthy and safe line between my knee and my foot underneath me. That protects the knee area on both sides. Now, I'm going to practice squeezing my backside and starting to lift my torso a little bit off the leg. Fingertips can still be on the mat if that makes you feel safe. So if I lift my torso and I start to squeeze my bottom on both sides back here, and if I start to draw myself up or away from the leg, I'm noticing that because I'm working, my breath is kicking in. This is hip flexibility physically. This is muscle strength and flexibility physically. And because it incorporates more breath, I need more oxygen to do this. It starts to get into the mental side of things. So then I decide, do I want to work on flexibility with my mind, flexibility with my body? Do I need to rest? What do I need to do in this posture? Some folks might want to draw their body back because this is too much. You might even want to take a table. For me in this posture, because I've decided I'm going to work on physical flexibility today, I'm noticing that my knee underneath me is sore. So what you'll see me do is kind of flip my mat over. I'll fold it. It looks real funny, but I'm going to flip my mat over because I need a little double for my knee. So remaining here on my right side, this is the beginning of what is called a crescent pose. A crescent pose kind of starts here, and it's a huge hip opener and stress release. Even though your body might be feeling a little strained right now, this actually is a stress release as we get into our hips and our sacral area. Okay, so we start to use that breath if we haven't already, making little adjustments to see if something would work better for our flexibility at this time. Then we start to notice what's going on in here. If something hurts, we make a change and we start that breath again. If my hands or my wrists are sore, maybe I even make a fist underneath me. The fist can help us with the wrist area. Or maybe I come out of this posture in the first place. Then I notice if I have strain in my neck or my shoulders, drawing something away, making a shift. And as you all know, then at that time, we readjust our breath and start again. Nice work. We're doing it. Okay. We can now kind of get out of this hip area by sending our bottom and back backward. And you're going to see me get into a runner's stretch here. So we were forward here in a modified crescent. And now I'm just sending the weight and the work back behind me in order to extend front leg, becoming a runner's stretch. Again, make any modifications underneath you that you might need to. And in this posture, maybe your front foot comes up a little bit. Maybe we make an adjustment to our knee behind. And we're folding forward over this leg to the degree that this hamstring here, our back, or anything else says, okay, that's where I am. And as you're learning, the breath starts here. We've given our bodies a stimulus. We've given our bodies a little tweak of the nervous system. And as we continue to do that, we bring ourselves to a place of safety. We bring ourselves to a place of care. And we make choices in those spaces. Very good, everyone. Okay. So to bring ourselves out of this, we're going to draw ourselves forward back into that modified crescent just for a moment. And when you're ready, we're going to curl the toe under. We got into this by a little bit of a plank action. So we're going to curl the toe under back behind us, flattening our hands to the ground as we can. And we're going to lift up and we're going to draw that leg all the way back to a plank back behind us. Nice job, everybody. Table, dropping hands and knees. Child's pose, sitting back into our bottoms, stretching arms forward like we do, dropping head to mat, and finding some breath. So we notice our breath here. Remain there in your child's pose if you'd like. And we are noticing. Can I feel my heart rate in this child's pose? How does my breath work right now? If there are areas of strain, can I make a slight adjustment to make it better? These are things we choose. This is just working on that flexibility. You're presenting yourself with things, different things than maybe you were doing this morning, and you're choosing a safe and healthy and active response to it. Take one more breath there in our child's posture. And perhaps we even sort of rock from side to side. Doing this to maybe notice the difference between the left and the right hip or groin area. Pausing in the center, pressing up table. Table is hands and knees. Gazing forward a little, we're going to draw this left leg forward this time. So left leg comes forward, and I'm ooching my foot forward so that I have a nice line between my knee and my ankle. I don't want to overextend up the front and compromise anything around my knee. And now I have this big long stretch here through my hip flexor, my groin here on the right side. So my belly is pressing on my leg and I'm here on my fingertips. You can come to your fist. You can make any other adjustments to however belly chest is for your practice. And then we breathe and we start to notice what's going on. We start to make some adjustments. I'm flipping over the side of my mat on this side. Then, like we did before, we squeeze our glutes. That's our firm foundation that sometimes we forget about to help us in stability. So squeezing our glutes, raising our faces forward, and perhaps we start to draw ourselves up to whatever degree we'd like away from the thigh underneath. So it's your choice, however much work and flexibility you would like to give yourself. And then we notice what's going on, making any adjustments we might need to, and then finding that breath. As we breathe, our body changes. Some parts let go, some parts kind of try to hold on, and it's good. We're just noticing and adapting as it happens, checking in and continuing our cycle of breath. And as we did before, we can then take this into a runner's stretch. So I start to draw my torso back into the knee behind me. Front leg extends, maybe your foot comes up, and then we start to feel the hamstring stretch and anything else going on in our bodies here on this side. And then we find our breath, relax shoulders and neck, and we just breathe into this space. Exhaling to let it go. One more round of breath. Gazing forward, turning on our belly as we start to walk forward back into that modified crescent on the left. Placing hands to the mat. When you're ready, curling the toes under and the foot behind you, using as leverage to press yourself up off the mat, hands to the mat. We lift the torso and we drag that leg so that both are behind in a plank posture. Walking our feet forward just a little step to secure that plank. When you're ready, and inhale up to the sky with your bottom, finding that down dog. Inhaling up, pressing into the heels, downward facing dog. Exhaling. We can lift and lower our heels in dog. Sometimes we call it pedaling it out, or just lifting and lowering our dogs. And we're just noticing hips, calves, those tendons, those Achilles tendons behind our ankle area. Nice. All righty, and when you're ready, coming back to table. And round table, we can just use that to sit back down onto our bottom somehow. We made it. So just sitting here in a comfortable seated posture to start. If you're not used to doing the down dog and the planking and that kind of stuff, it can be rough on the wrists. And so we notice that. And maybe we just roll these wrists, these hands. Very good. Okay. And then I'm going to actually place my hands on my knees. And we did a moving table earlier. We can do kind of a moving seated posture here too. We might have done it before together, where we just kind of roll in a circle. I'm going clockwise to start. And my inhale and my exhale are timing with my circle. Maybe we inhale forward, exhaling back. And then pausing to go the other way, counterclockwise, same pattern. Whatever we do on one side to our bodies, we do in a similar manner the other way. And pausing center. Switching our legs to put the other one on top or in front, placing our hands on either side of us on the mat. Right hand placed gently on the mat so that left fingers can extend. We're going to kind of give ourselves a fold to the side. So when you're ready, inhaling up to the sky, full breath in. Bending over towards the right with your exhale, torso stays stable. Beautiful. So as you can see here, I have this arm up and over the top, fingers are spread wide. Sometimes if you see folks who kind of curl down and in, and that might be you today, that's okay, that might be where your back is. Chest openers draw the shoulder and the elbow up towards the sky, and it gets a little more deeply into kind of this oblique and hip area up top. So your choice. As we're here, can we make sure our belly's strong? Inhaling and exhaling. When you're ready for an inhale, you go back up to the sky, inhaling that left arm. Exhaling as we release arm down to the mat on the left. Shoulder rolling to let go of anything there in the center. And this time we're going to plant that left hand so we can free up the right. Sitting up straight, inhaling right arm all the way up to the sky, full breath in. And just a gentle turn towards or into this left side, I should say. And I'm choosing to have the chest opener, rolling that elbow back up towards the sky. I'm extending through my hands, fingers are spread wide. And I find the low knee, just a gentle kickstand. And when you're ready, take this back up. We just inhale all the way up to the sky and exhale, releasing down to our sides. Okay, I'm gonna roll to face down my mat. And wherever you are in your space, we are going to try something called a ball, a yoga ball. We're literally gonna roll ourselves like we're in kindergarten. And so for any age that you are, your choice of how you wanna do this. So just make sure we're safe and that there isn't a lot of stuff around us or back behind us. And I'm gonna draw my feet to the front of the mat. Okay, so we practiced sitting up earlier when we first got started. So we're gonna go back to that posture where we take our hands underneath our thighs. Then we're gonna lean back, creating an arc in our back, and our hands are still holding on to these legs and feet. So your choice about how you'd like to come into this roll. So some folks like to just kind of lean back. You'll see my feet coming back. And I just roll a little right here. This can be where your yoga ball is today. Just depending on flexibility, safety, and all that. If you feel like you have more, rolling your ball takes a little more abdominals. We come back up to the top. Careful on the neck back here. And we roll back. We use kind of the momentum of these legs to roll ourselves. We're getting into the bottom, the lower back, and the spine that we use today. So find the ball that works for you. Be careful and don't go back too far so that you roll yourself all the way out of your room and out the front door. But find the roll that works for you. And remember to breathe. I'm going to do about 10. You do as many as you'd like. And if you don't want to do it, feel free to lie down because that's always an option too. There's never a wrong pose. We only have safe poses, so we don't hurt ourselves. Good job, everybody, finding your breath. If you need a little challenge up at the top, you can even lift a leg. or not even touch the floor with your feet when you come up. Or if you're a superstar, you could even release one hand or the other hand as you roll yourself down. But again, careful on that neck. No taking out the desk or the chair. Good job. And when you're done, if you're not already done, find yourself a comfortable place on the mat, lying down on your back. Go ahead and just drop your legs to the mat. As we sit here, we just kind of allow the lower back to relax. We allow the shoulders to melt into this mat. We are lying down. And if possible, we can even draw our knees into our chest, wrapping my hands around my knees or my calves area. Some folks like a little rock from side to side. Whatever in your body's talking to you right now, you just kind of respond to it. Find your breath. Nice job. And coming to rest with knees back in the center. And we're going to keep left knee into the chest. And we have this right leg. Can we send right leg somehow up to the sky a little? And then when you're ready, we can gently and slowly at your own pace, lower this heavy leg all the way down to the mat. Like a little kid in the summer jumping into a pool and saying, jackknife. So here we get this really big hip flexor stretch. The groin is opening up here. Maybe even you're getting into your hamstring and glutes on the other side. And you choose how much you want to pull your knee in on the left. We're just kind of stretching through that whole area. And when you're ready, turning our attention to that extended right leg, gently drawing right leg in, knee comes back into chest, and we grab a hold of the right side. Here we go. And then when you're ready, we send the left leg up to the sky, just like we did last time. And releasing left leg at your own pace, down your mat, down the floor. Oof, okay. So when we get there, we relax everything as much as we can. If you even need to just hold yourself behind your leg here, we're all different. And then you choose the squeeze you'd like here on your right leg. We check in with that breath, relaxing neck and shoulders, and allow some space for opening here. Turning our attention to that extended left leg, gently drawing the leg and the knee back into the center. You'll see me here. And a final little rock from side to side, if that would feel good for you. So we're on our back, side to side. And when you're ready, wherever you have your screen, we're going to use this motion here to roll onto our sides to face one another. So how I like to do it is I take my arm, whichever arm is facing us, and I'm going to lift my head up and put it on that bent elbow, that arm, that hand area. And then dropping my knees, I'm going to roll toward you. So I'm rolling towards you, and I like to call this my sleepy time position, but whatever that is. And that gets us off our backside. Feel free to pause here for a minute, finding a breath. And when you're ready, we have this top hand and arm that isn't trapped. We can place it on the ground in the front, and we can kind of use our arm and our legs when we roll forward to use this to draw ourselves back up to a comfortable seated posture. So take your time. Don't hurt anything. We just come back up to our center and go ahead and just find whatever comfortable seated posture for you is. As we reach this space, we just notice the breath that's in our chest. If a shoulder roll here would feel good for you, find something that needs to be rolled out in the neck or the shoulders. Noticing our breath. And we come back to the center and we just sit and pause. If it feels okay for you, I invite you to close your eyes. At the end of our practice, we just take a moment, taking some full, intentional breath. Just noticing the way our chest rises and falls as we breathe. Here in our practice today, we've worked on flexibility, noticing, changing, responding. I commend you for the practice that you've done today, for the work you've done on yourself. To end our practice, we just send our arms out, palms up. And with that last big breath that you have, we inhale those arms all the way above the head. Find some hands in prayer up in the sky. Drawing these hands down in front of our chest with the exhale. We end our practices with this gesture as a gentle reminder that this deep breath is always available and there for us. I thank you for the time that you've taken to be with me today, to practice together, even if we haven't even seen each other yet, is an honor. It's a bumpy road and it's an interesting road. And as community members, we walk it together. And so until we see you again, wishing you flexibility and wishing you some peace in the rest of your day. Namaste and peace be with you guys. Thank you.